What's up everybody, Haskins here, and today I'm going to show you every step of the way on how to build this brand new plane design that I've recently come up with. Now don't be worried if you don't have the pieces I'm showcasing in this one. That's okay, because as long as you follow these instructions, you can build one using any of the pieces in the game that are available to you and just make it your own. Now what you'll notice is by the color of this box and that question mark on the back here, this was inspired by Super Mario Brothers. Now it started off as just a floating box, and then I said why not turn it into a plane, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to build here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get right into the build. Okay, so for step one of the build, we're actually going to grab this large dynamic foundation, which can be located in the toys menu under general. So let's go ahead and grab that and put one down right here. And then from there, we're going to be using a combination of 3 different pleasant park walls. I'm sorry, actually, we're only going to be using 2. We're going to be using this yellow wall 3 and the yellow wall 2. So we have the 2x4x12 and the 2x8x12. What we're going to do is we're going to start by placing these 2 right there, just like that, on the dynamic foundation. And then we're going to put another one just on the inside of that wall. Then we're going to move on over to the yellow wall 2. We're just going to snap that right in like that. Now from here, we're going to do the same thing on the back side with these yellow wall 3s. We're just going to put 2 side by side, just like that. And then we're going to fill it in using the yellow wall 3 and one of the yellow wall 2s. Now, if you got these lined up good, you'll notice that they're just perfectly outlining the top of that dynamic foundation. So just make sure it looks like that before you proceed. Now that we have our box, it's time to build our question mark. And the way we're going to do that is by grabbing a small thruster from the toy menu. We're just going to place one right off the side, just like that. And we're going to be using these beachy railing corners. However, if you don't have this set, you can use other railings of similar size to create whatever kind of designs you want. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to get one sat just like that. We're going to start to move it over until we get close to the middle here, and we're going to nudge it down until it's one space above that little yellow line on the bottom there. Now this is basically how we're going to go ahead and get this thing centered up, and we're going to start by building a box down here. Now this is going to be pretty much a 2x2 box, so we're just going to put a nice little square just like that. And then we're going to move up, and we're going to make one space. We're going to place one down. We're going to head over here to the right, place another, and we're going to move up, place another. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to start building outward. So we're going to have 3x2 at this point, and we're going to start moving to the right here. We're going to place 1, 2, and then we're going to skip a space and go up 1, just like that. Now we're going to build up 1, 2, 3, and we're going to make another row just like this. And then from here, we're going to start moving outward. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then we're going to build down 1, 2. And then over here, we're going to build another row moving up right next to that one we just put down. And now from here, we're going to skip the corner, and we're going to just go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And now we have our question mark. Now to even out the weight, we're going to go ahead and build the exact same thing on the other side. So let's just go ahead and speed through this. You can reference the last part that we just did to build your second question mark if you need to. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go into our floor pieces, and you can grab any 12x12x1, and we're just going to go ahead and snap this down right in the middle like that. Now once you've got that in, we can actually go ahead and release this box from the dynamic foundation. Now, I highly recommend not using a pick because you do not want to destroy all the work you've just done. So go ahead and punch the box out. It's going to take about 3 hits, I believe. And now you've got this thing on the ground. Just make sure that your floor is still attached on the inside. And now we're ready to start building out the remaining parts of the box. Now it's time to make this thing float. So what we're going to do is go into toys, over to vehicle parts, and we're going to grab this vehicle base 3, and we're just going to have this thing about center, maybe a little lower than center here. And now we want to make sure that these blocks are all evenly at the same height across all 4 sides. And what we're going to do that is we're going to snap in, and we're going to nudge it back until it turns green, and then we're going to place one down. We're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to do this. We're going to rotate, and then we're going to come on over here to the wall and just nudge it back 1. And we're going to grab this one here and snap in and nudge back till it turns green and place it down just like that. Next, we're going back into toys, and we're going to grab these small balloons, and we're going to start to put these right on top of this in the corners. Now, we're going to put one there. We're actually going to do 2 on each one of these. Now, I highly recommend making sure that before you add anything to the other sides, do the opposite side before you do, let's say, like this one and then the back. And then from here, what we're going to do is same thing. We're going to go ahead and place these on all 4 corners here. Or not, I'm sorry, not all 4 corners, but on the corner edge there. We're going to place 2 more here, and we should start to get a little bit of lift and start heading up a little bit. All right, balloons are in, and we're floating up pretty high. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to go over to building parts. We're going to grab these 4x4x2 granite foundation blocks. Now we're going to set these right in the center just like that. We're going to stack 5 of them. So that'd be 1, we got 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And now this is going to start to lower us towards the ground a bit. And now from here, we're just going to go over into toys. And we're going to grab this large driver's seat. Realistically, any one of these will work. I just like the look of this one best. So we're going to go ahead and place that right on there like that. Now, it's okay if you have the front end hanging over like that, but generally speaking, I like to have this thing centered up. So let's go ahead and break that down, and let's nudge that back just like that. So you have the front yellow part lined up with the front of your block. Next up, we're going to build our wings, and we're going to use any floor that's 8x8x1. Now, in this case, I'm using Beachy Floor 2 because it looks really good with the overall design. And we're actually going to place this floor right behind that little Lego stud that you're seeing right there towards the front. And then also what we're going to do on the other side is the exact same placement of that same floor piece. And now we're just going to leave these alone right now. The wings aren't finished, but the reason for this is I'm going to hop down and show you. This is going to give us enough lift to where we can start to place our thrusters underneath and also on the other sides of the cube before we finish out the wings and the tail. All right, so next we're gonna head underneath. We're gonna go into toys and grab these small thrusters. We're gonna start by placing them in all 4 corners right on the underneath side. Now these ones are actually gonna be used to lift up the flying vehicle here, or I should say our plane, when we take off. And then once we've got the 4 corners in, we're just gonna get some centered up just like this in between the ones we placed on the front and back, and also on the left and right. The thrusters underneath are on, so we can go ahead and build out the rest of the wings. So we're just gonna go back to our 8x8x1 floor, and we're gonna build one more on both sides just like that. Now from here, we can go on into our thin floors, and we're gonna use a 12x2x1, and we're just gonna put one right off the side like this. I'm gonna do the same thing on the opposite end. Next, we're gonna add the tail on the plane, and we're gonna do that by using a 16x2x1 thin floor piece. We're gonna put 2 of them. So we're gonna make sure that one's right off the side like that, and then another one right next to it, and just make sure it's centered up with your seat and everything else, because we wanna make sure the balance of this plane is perfect. Now, next we're gonna grab the 8x2x1 thin floor, and we're gonna start to put these on the back. So we're gonna find this one hanging off the side just like that, and then we're gonna snap another one in right there. Okay, let's go ahead and add our thrusters. Now what we're gonna do is go on over to toys, and we're gonna grab this vehicle base 3. We're just gonna place this right up against the edge in the corner of this wing. We're gonna do the same thing on the other wing just like this. And then we're gonna go back into our toys, but we're gonna move over to controls here, and we're gonna grab some small thrusters, and we're gonna slap 3 of these right on here, and then we're gonna also do 3 more on the other side. Okay, so let's finish up our thrusters. Now we're gonna go on the right wing here, and we're just gonna go and place one right there on the edge and almost touching these thrusters here. And we're gonna place a second one right in front of that other one there. And then from here, we're gonna put one more on the corner of this block, just like that. We're gonna go on the other end of the plane and do the exact same thing. So let's put one right on the edge of this block. And then we're gonna place one right behind that thruster, and then another one right behind this one. Now these ones are going to remain on channel 3, so there's no tuning involved for those. Now we're gonna add some turning thrusters, and at this point we're gonna go back into our toys. We're gonna grab this vehicle base 4. We're gonna slap that right on the back of the wing, as you're seeing like that. And then we're gonna go back to these small thrusters. We're gonna place one on this side, and then another one on this side. Now, since these ones in the back are going to be used for turning, we do actually need to tune these. So what we're going to do is make this first one channel 1 and make sure you cut off channel 3. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, only this time we're going to cut off channel 3 and set this to 2. Now we do need to make our way around the front of the plane, and we're going to add 2 more thrusters for turning. So we're going to put one here, and we're going to want to match this to the one we just put in the back on the same side, which is going to be channel 2. Again, remembering to cut off channel 3. And then last but not least, we're going to place one more small thruster here on the outer edge, and we're going to match this to the one in the back, which is going to be channel 1. So again, cut off channel 3 and set this to channel 1. So after getting all the thrusters in, I had a little bit of a change of plans here. So we're actually going to add a couple of more balloons, and we're going to close off the top and detail out this plane a bit more. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to put one of the balloons closer to the one in the back on the right and left sides, just like this. Now what's going to happen here is this is going to just start to lift you in the air because we're going to need to add some weight. Now sometimes getting these placed is a little challenging, so just be patient with it and eventually you'll be able to get those in. So make sure your balloons are looking like this. Cover up all the balloons using thin floor pieces. So we're going to start by hitting this 16 by 2 by 1 here, and we're going to place it right on the front of the plane just like that. We're also going to stack one more on top, and we're going to start to cut these back. We're going to add 2 of them just like that, and then we're going to grab the 8 by 2 by 1 and we're going to place it right up against those pieces that we just placed down. We're going to do another one on the other side. Now we're going to connect 2 more on both sides to cover up them balloons. Now one other thing we're going to do here is we're going to make our way to the back. We're going to grab the 6 by 2 by 1. We're going to place one down on the actual box itself. Now sometimes it does take a second to get them to place, so just be patient. And we're going to put another one right here and stack it up on top. Then we're going to go and grab a smaller floor piece such as this 8 by 4 by 1, and we're just going to fit this right on the inside just like that. And then we'll go back over to our thin floor pieces where we're going to grab another one of the 8 by 2 by 1s. We're going to put it right here on the back of the tail. And then we're going to start to detail out the wings a bit because, again, we got to just continue adding weight so that we can get this plane back on the ground. We're going to take a 16 by 2 by 1 and we're going to place it right on the front edge of the wing like that. I'm going to do one more right here. And then we're going to grab the 8 by 2 by 1, or I'm sorry, we're going to grab the 12 by 2 by 1. And we're going to have that go right off the edge here, and the same thing on the other side. And now lastly, this is kind of optional, but I kind of recommend doing it because it does give it a little bit more detail and looks pretty cool. So now you can go over into your rug section, and you can grab any one of these yellow and white rugs if you're using this exact same color scheme. I'll go with the stripe rug here, and you can actually place these right here in the corner like that, and then flip one over here and put one right there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So one in the corner, and then have one go the opposite direction. And now you get this cool little design on your wings just like that. So one of the downsides to this design is that you can't just jump right up there. Now you can actually make a little bit of a ledge or a stair set on the back here where you can put one right underneath the question mark just like this, and then you can actually hop up. You got to get a little bit of a running start, and you can hop up on the question mark like that. But the only problem with that is it just kind of takes away from the back design a bit, and you do actually have to put one more right here to even out the weight. But let's go ahead and use that if we want, or you could just have a stair set that you continuously put down every time you're going to board the plane. But now let's hop in and take a look at the flight mechanics. So again, channel 3 is going to lift us up and give us some forward motion. Now the one thing you'll notice here is you do get a slight tilt forward when you first take off, but that's totally fine. And as you can see, it flies relatively flat and pretty fast. Now you will start to gain height the further out you go, which is quite nice because you can clear a lot of stuff in the dry valley and even get over some obstacles over in the frostlands. Now to turn, we're going to use channel 1. That's going to turn us to the left, and channel 2 is going to turn us to the right. Now one thing I do recommend doing before turning to the right, because for whatever reason that just completely throws it off tilt, we're going to just disengage our forward motion while we turn right, and then we can re-engage to head in the direction that we want to go. The thing to mention about this design is you actually can get out of your seat while you're flying and do emotes or whatever you got to do with your inventory, which I think is pretty neat. Check out some of the other tutorials I have here on this channel. I have so many different ones. If you enjoyed this one today, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. We've got LEGO Fortnite content dropping like crazy. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Haskins is signing off. I will catch you all in the next one.